Craftsman Days are here at Lowe's with big savings on the tools you need. Right now, get a free select tool when you buy the Craftsman V20 2-pack battery kit. Whether it's the backyard, the bathroom, or beyond, Craftsman has the tools to help you power through and get the project done right. Because DIYing is unpredictable, but your tools shouldn't be. Shop Craftsman at Lowe's today. Valid through 6/18 while supplies last. Selection varies by location.
This is Ready, Set, Bet with Matt Brown and Mike Somich on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Hey, it is Ready, Set, Bet here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Matt Brown, Mike Somich coming to you live here on a Sunday. Lots of sports to talk about. Playoffs, of course, implications happening all over the place today, Mike. And, you know, we got tennis going on over there in Paris. We got all kinds of important auto racing today. And where do we start?
I mean, I don't know. Is it the Coca-Cola 600, the Indy 500, the French Open? We got game threes and playoff. We got a loaded baseball slate. We got some good horse racing today with a couple carryover pools, Matt. It's just it's a smorgasbord of sports today.
Carryover pools over in horse racing. You will have to explain that a little bit later as we get going into the broadcast. Of course, we will have pucks and ponies a little bit later to talk to Mike about what he's got going on over there on the track. We'll talk to Noops Christenson a little bit later, get his thoughts on the NBA. We also have Peter Appel. We also have Brad Thomas. We got all kinds of good guests today, rocking and rolling. But Mike, let's start here with something. And we're weird. Sports bettors are weird. And so you and I both on the Thunder yesterday. And honestly, that result to me as a sports bettor, I'm like, yeah, I like those better. Like, I mean, you know, it's like, I'm not sweating it till the end to lose my bet or whatever. That bet was over at halftime. And so I'm just like, all right, that's cool. I'm going about my day. Don't have to worry about anything else. I actually am okay. Listen, if you're going to be a Bear, be a Grizzly, right? So let's just go ahead and let's just lose it with the Thunder. Look at that, no pun intended. But let's just lose the hell out of the bet. And that's exactly what happened in the 143-101 absolute blowout there for the Timberwolves.
Yeah, look, if I'm going to lose a bet, I'd much rather just not sweat it. A rocking chair loss is fine because then you don't have to worry about it. Like another fourth quarter we didn't need to watch in the NBA. Yeah. The Thunder starters not even out there at the end of the third quarter, let alone in the fourth. And this was just a story of the Minnesota Timberwolves turning up the intensity, right? We saw them play much more intense on defense, more physical. They end up shooting 57% from the floor, 50% from three.
I was about to say, it helps when you never miss a three-pointer. Yeah, it also helps when you never miss a three. It
kind of does,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
And then, like, OKC going into the game was holding opponents to a minuscule 30% from three, 40% from the field. When you shoot that well, you get to set up your defense every single time down the court. That helps you as well. Saw a huge rebounding edge for the Timberwolves. So everything came up roses for the Timberwolves in Minnesota yesterday.
Yeah, it was, like I said, I know it's very weird to hear, you know, a sports bettor that has a losing bet say, I'm actually okay with those types of losses. But yeah, I mean, that comes down to the final shot and then I lose on the final shot. Then that really sucks. This was like, all right, I'm going about my day. Yeah, whatever. What else is on the television? You know, like, boop, boop, boop. Oh, let me flip to the hockey game. Never mind, that's terrible too. There was no good games on yesterday.
Whoa. The hockey game was good until Florida decided to dominate the third period.
You mean it was good until it wasn't? Yes, it was good until it wasn't,
well, yes,
say.
There you go.
Yes.
And then there was just a flourish of goals from Florida in the third period to absolutely blow the Hurricanes out of the water and take a commanding 3-0 series lead.
Yeah, it was 1-0 after 1, 1-1 after 2, and then 6-2 your final for the Panthers, who now lead that series 3-0. And Mike, I think we can do the whole stick a fork in it. It is done. We are not going to get a 4 straight game win streak here out of the Hurricanes.
It would be pretty far-fetched to believe that they're going to be able to come back and win 4 games against this Panthers team that's been rolling. One of the more wild stats out there, Matt, the Carolina Hurricane have now lost 15 straight conference finals games. They got swept in the 3 previous conference finals and now down 3-0 in this one. I don't think that there is another team that you can think of, especially in the modern era, that has had that rough of a losing streak in a specific round of the playoffs, let alone being the conference finals, which means that you've already won 2 rounds. So it's so unlikely you get swept 3 times in a row and then are on the brink of happening it a 4th time as well.
The F1 race over in Monaco is donezo. Lando Norris wins that one. Charles Leclerc in second, then Oscar Piastri there in third. So Lando Norris, Mike, it is, I don't get it as far as the betting standpoint, because it seems like everyone who wins the poll, wins the race. I mean, seriously, it's probably like 9 times out of 10. So, I don't get the intrigue, but hey, listen, some people bet it out there. So if you have the Lando Norris ticket, good on you.
Yeah, good on you. All those Lando Norris backers. I enjoyed this morning's race. I watched 4 or 5 laps. Like I said, I've been to Monaco before.
You didn't.
It's fun
watch
to see them.
Laps. Come on.
I did. I watched like 4 or 5 of them this morning. It's fun to see them ripping around that course, specifically in that city, which is just this small city built into the mountains. And you have the hairpin turn right by the Fairmont down there. Just a fun course to watch. But I mean, I can only watch so much. And then I'm like, all right, I've seen enough. Like, I'm good.
Yeah, it's a lot of the same. I just, again, not for me, but hey, good for you. If you cashing tickets is cashing tickets. It doesn't really matter, right? So, I mean,
exactly.
It doesn't really matter when it comes down to it.
Doesn't matter what sport you want it on.
Yeah. All right. So we got the Knicks on the road at the Pacers. That's coming to you 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific out here. Mike, this is well, you know what? It's about half 2s, half 1.5s out there. So if you want the Knicks, there are 2s available. If you want the Pacers, there are 1.5s available. Anywhere from 223.5 up to 224.5 is the total here in this one. We know how dire a game this is for this Knicks team.
Yeah, not a surprise. We've started to see Knicks money come in right when the Timberwolves game ended, right? So you get that idea, okay, down 0-2, they've got to win the game. We see that effort from the Timberwolves, and all of a sudden the people are like, hey, the Knicks are down 0-2. Maybe we should get in on the Knicks here. And look, these are all going to be coin flip games in this series in my mind. The Pacers just flipped the coin properly in the first 2. We'll see if the Knicks can get a proper coin flip here in game 3. I would just say the difference here, Minnesota was going home. This is a Knicks team that's now on the road in Indianapolis, have to take on a Pacers team that wants to play at pace. I haven't bet this game, Matt. Probably not going to bet this game. If you gave me $100 Matt bucks, I'd probably be playing the Pacers, and I'd be waiting to see if I can get a 1 or even a cheap money line here before I actually put the bet in.
Yeah, I went ahead and, banana in the tailpipe again. I mean, I took the Knicks. I took the 2 points. I actually took the Knicks also to win the first quarter. Kind of one of those like come out fired up type deals and then get it done for this team. I mean, Mike, I understand Pascal Siakam stepped up and scored 39 points in the last game, but it's like, are the Knicks not the better team? I mean, it seems like they're the better team.
Well, the Knicks are better 1 through 5.
Yeah,
it's the
they need to quit going to 7.
Very, very different.
They need to quit going to 7, basically. Yeah, I mean, play everybody all the minutes.
But then it's a question of, can you handle that type of workload against in the third round of the playoffs when you've already had to deal with that type of workload through 2 rounds, and you also have a Pacers team that wants to play a pace, that's willing to guard 50 feet, 60 feet from the basket and make you actually use energy to go up the court as well. And so it's just one of those matchups where, yeah, if the Knicks are clean, if they can play their top 5 for 42, 43 minutes and get through it and not have any issues, yeah, I agree the Knicks are the better team, but it's when you go into that bench, that's when you start getting concerned. When you talk about role players who could step up, the Pacers have a laundry list of those role players like Pascal Siakam that could step up, and the Knicks, they kind of got their 5 dudes, and we'll see how far we can take it.
Over in the NHL, and of course, we will get your full thoughts a little bit later during the Pucks and Ponies segment, but we do have another 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific tomorrow in the Carolina, Florida game. This is minus 180-ish, minus 190-ish, something like that in favor of Florida. 5.5 the total there, Mike.
Yeah, it's funny. It took 3 games for the market to catch up. I mean, we talked about like what's going on here. Why are the Panthers minus 140 yesterday? And that was I'm not going to say easy winner because again, it was a close game through 2 periods before the Panthers blew the doors off. But it was nice to have plus 185 on the puck line, minus 140 on the money line, plus 100 in regulation, and now we go 1 game later, and it's an elimination game for Carolina. You assume they're going to come out and play at their max effort here. They don't want to get swept again in the conference finals. And you've seen the line move out way toward Florida here at minus 170. The puck line, minus 154, 30 cents cheaper on the puck line as well. So you're kind of paying the price now if you want to take the Panthers in this spot. So I've got enough on the series. I'm not really going to, I doubt I'm going to end up playing this game tomorrow because I do think, look, the Panthers should be minus 175 favorites at home. Now in an elimination game, is that price what I believe, like when you bring in the whole motivation, like you'd expect Florida not nearly as geared up as Carolina for this game 4, considering the situation inside the series. The under at 5.5, juice to the under gets a little bit more interesting for me here. We'll see if that kind of stands, if that stays toward the plus money plus money toward the over. But like if we end up getting a minus 110 on the under 5.5, that's where I start getting interested in this game, Matt. But as of now, no bets for me because I do think this is actually properly priced for the first time in this series.
Welcome to the Bigs, Marcelo Mayer. We do put Alex Bregman on the IL. I can't say DL. In the IL, Mike. They call up Mayer. He comes in 0 for 4, 3 Ks. He gets him a nice little triple there. So, listen, it's an adjustment. It's an adjustment. AAA is not the Bigs.
Like we said, we saw last year, all the Baltimore Orioles prospects come up and they all struggled right out of the gate. Not everybody's Mike Trout, right? Yeah. Not everyone's just going to smash the ball right when they come up. We'll see what this adjustment period is like for Mayer. And if he's able to figure this out, again, so in between the two games, they said Bregman could be a longer term injury, which means this could be a long stint in the majors. If he can figure it out, there's a silver lining here because Bregman's going to come back and hit, assuming he's able to come back toward the later half of the season. If you can add Mayer into that lineup and another bat, that's a positive thing for this Boston team over the long term. It's just a big question mark of whether or not he's going to be able to hit in this first stint in the majors.
We got one game going on out there, an early first pitch there in Detroit. Drake Skubal is so incredibly good. He's gone 6 innings. He's given up 1 hit. He's walked nobody, and he has 7 strikeouts. It is a 5-0 game there against the Guardians. Skubal just continuing to prove to us, Mike, that he is one of the absolute elite.
Yeah, the question, though, is if you're dealing on Roku and nobody is watching, does it actually count? Because that's where this game is on. It's on Roku. I would love to know the viewership of the Roku baseball games on Saturday morning in the early or Sunday morning in the early starts.
I mean, so what? I have a Roku, so I don't even know. I would just have to turn it on and then the game would be on?
I have no idea. I don't even know. I couldn't tell you. I have a Roku too. I have no clue how to find this game.
There you go. Well, it's happening and he's dealing. There, that's all you need to know. It's happening and Skubal is dealing. When we come back, Noops Christenson on the NBA.
If your job at a healthcare facility includes disinfecting against viruses, you know prevention is the best medicine. And maintaining healthy spaces starts with a healthy cleaning routine. Grainger's world-class supply chain helps ensure you have the quality products you need when you need them. From disinfectants and cleaning supplies to personal protective equipment, so you can help deliver a clean bill of health. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Welcome back to Ready, Set, Bet with Matt Brown and Mike Somich on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Ready, Set, Bet here on VSiN. Matt Brown and Mike Somich on a Sunday as we are a little bit of a weather delay, I guess, at the Indy 500 there, Mike, but they are talking to Michael Strahan, who's sitting in a car, so I guess he is about to drive the thing.
Yeah, do they have like an honorary starter, the pace car, I think they call it, that goes out there? I guess Strahan is the honorary starter for the Indy 500 this year. Hopefully it gets going rather soon. I know there's people trying to pull the double off, Matt, with the Indianapolis 500 and the Coca-Cola 600. So we got to get this thing going, or else you got to make some decisions toward the end of this race.
Yeah, I mean, this is. I'm guessing it's tough. I mean, I know we joke. You and I are not big auto race bettors. And we joke about it, but I mean, I got to imagine it's pretty tough to drive for like 9 straight hours in a day at that level. It's not like you're like just hopping on the interstate and popping over to California or something like that. I mean, like this is like intense driving for 9 straight hours.
Well, that's the thing. Like when you are driving for 8 hours a day, going cross country, whatever you're doing, it's a lot more casual, right? You can have some sunflower seeds, eat some beef jerky, grab some water, whatever you need on your little road trip there.
Yeah, you're watching videos, you're whatever.
You're
doze off for like 10 seconds at a time, no big deal.
You think they listen to podcasts during the Indy 500? Any of the drivers like picking, maybe throwing on a little Ready, Set, Bet in their ear as they're going around the track?
Unfortunately, I don't think we're getting that. No. Do you think we get that?
Not big with the IndyCar driver.
Yeah, I don't think they are. So we said they got that 5-0 going on out there right now with the Tigers and the Guardians. That is sitting there in the top of the 7th inning. First pitch in the Orioles and Red Sox. This is Dean Kremer versus Walker Buehler. This is currently -130. Red Sox +110. Orioles on the road. A flat 9 is our total here in this one, Mike. I'm looking over, and the starting lineups are out here in this one. Looks pretty much what we saw yesterday here in this one. Yeah, everybody in the lineup for both these teams here on a Sunday. Walker Buehler, the weirdest of weird guys to either back or fade.
Yeah, he's a tough one, man. He can deal, and sometimes he just really struggles. And so he's someone that, especially against this Baltimore lineup, which has just been atrocious so far this season, not someone I want to mention. I didn't bet this game, but if you want to get on Rafael Devers props, he's someone I'd look at against Dean Kremer in 20 career at-bats, has 7 hits, 2 homers, 3 RBIs, also struck out 5 times, but still pretty good numbers there in 20 at-bats for Devers.
Hitting in that 2-hole here in this one, so plenty of opportunity for him to get something done. Now join us here on the Progressive guest line, Noops Christenson. Find his work over at FTNBets_Noops on the Twitter machine as well. How you doing, buddy?
It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. It's always so nice to talk to you guys.
Yeah, man. We are looking forward to getting your opinion here on this one. It is 2 or 1.5 in favor of the Pacers at home here over the Knicks, about 224-ish there on the total. What do we see here from this Knicks team on the road?
I think it'll be really interesting, and we have to start with the whispers that are starting to become rumors that I think is actually going to become the fact that it seems like Mitchell Robinson is going to be starting for the New York Knicks today in place of Josh Hart. And when you go back and look at those first 2 games, the Pacers have struggled with Robinson on the court. For better or for worse, there just doesn't seem to be a guy on the Pacers team that's big enough to box him out or that's really focused on it. Miles Turner has had a little success here and there, but he's really been a problem. And Josh Hart, as important as he is to this Knicks team, he's just a little smaller, a little slower than everybody across from him. I mean, you think about Nembhard, Naismith, and those guys, and they do a lot of the stuff Hart does, but again, bigger, more athletic. So I think that's going to be a big change. And what I expect is kind of what we've seen, honestly, from the first 2 games. The Knicks have been good to start these games. They've won the first quarter and the first half of those first couple games, and then the second half starts, and you can see the legs get tired, and the Pacers are really starting to finally get through some of the cracks that they've built in the foundation here. So I think that the Knicks can close this game out finally, for the first time in the series, but I'm certainly not going to bet on it. Instead, I'm looking at New York early. Again, with Mitchell Robinson starting, I think that's really going to throw off the Indiana Pacers, and I don't think the market has adjusted well enough in these first quarter and first half markets where you look at a Knicks first quarter money line, I'm seeing right around -110, -115. The first half money line, pretty much the same price. I think both of those are really good bets. Let's just take the Knicks to be good for 2 quarters like they have all series.
Yeah, it's interesting. We saw money come in on the Knicks right after we saw the Timberwolves be able to take care of business in Game 3 when they were down 0-2. Obviously, a little different scenario here with the Knicks on the road and the Timberwolves being on home. But what really jumped out to me was the energy we saw from the Timberwolves. It's much more difficult with the Knicks, who really just play 7 people and want to lean on 5 or 6 of those 7 people through the majority of the minutes to keep that energy up. Do you expect we're just going to see the Knicks come out similar to what the Timberwolves did with that level of energy here in Game 3 down 0-2, or do you think it's going to be a little more difficult for them on the road?
I think it's definitely more difficult on the road, but they have to. There is no choice for the Knicks other than to come out and play the absolute best, most aggressive basketball they can play for the 48 minutes here, especially at the beginning of the game, because this is it, guys, right? This is the whole season. If the Knicks lose this game, no team has ever come back down 0-3, and I certainly don't think the Knicks are going to be the first one to do it. So they better bring that energy. And yes, it's going to be tougher on the road where you don't quite have that same level of noise, but if you can quiet that Pacers crowd early, maybe that gives them the confidence to carry through.
Noops, from a total standpoint, if you like the Knicks and you like the Knicks in the first quarter, you like the Knicks in the first half, is there any sort of correlated play for you there at all? Does that equal a lower scoring game? Does that equal a higher scoring game? Or do you think it doesn't really matter? It could go either way.
I think it could go either way. Again, given that the Knicks have been willing to run with the Pacers, that's another thing I'm trying to see. With Mitchell Robinson in, are they going to be a little more slower, a little more methodical? I do think there is a correlation, though, to Knicks and the under. If you wanted to take, again, that Knicks first quarter money line, that Knicks first half money line, and put it with the first quarter under, put it with the first half under, I think that definitely is going to add some EB to your bets. I do agree that there's some correlation. If the Knicks can slow this down and make it into an ugly sort of rock fight, maybe they can't quite get it that slow, but they need it to be slow. So I like where your head's at, Matt. I think unders and Knicks are good things to be putting together.
Now, we saw Pascal Siakam absolutely go off in game 2. Those role players are a big part of this Indiana Pacers team, able to step up in certain spots. I know you like Nesmith assists during the first round. Are there any player props that you're specifically looking at this game from the role players that you think may have a big game here in game 3?
Well, it's interesting you bring that up, Mike, because my favorite player prop is actually an under for an Indiana Pacer. Now, like you said, we've seen throughout history, the role players, the secondary guys almost always play better at home. Comfortable surroundings, less pressure, again, a lot more support from the crowd. But Benedict Mathurin has sort of given up shooting three-pointers. If you go and look over the playoffs as a whole, especially the last couple games, he's not even attempting a three, let alone making one. I'm seeing at a couple different books here, we have an opportunity to bet Benedict Mathurin under half a made three at about -110. I think that's a really nice prop bet because when you get to these over-under a halves, I think a lot of times books are looking at the average or the mean, if you will, instead of looking at kind of hit rate or the mode. So again, if you look over the playoffs here, he really has only made a three about once every 2-3 games here, closer to once every 3 games. So as much as I agree, we'll see some of the Pacers role players play better. Maybe look at some TJ McConnell overs. I know his rebounds have been good, but my favorite bet is Benedict Mathurin under half a made three.
Talking to Noops Christenson, find his great work over at FTN. Noops, let's look ahead to tomorrow. Thunder on the road, 3.5-point favorites, 218.5. Here, if you think the Timberwolves win this thing outright like they did yesterday, plus 130 for them, what do you like in this one?
I think this is going to be a good bounce back spot for Oklahoma City. I think that they were really not quite throttled, maybe disturbed is a better word for it, but bothered by that environment in Minnesota. I think that crowd is actually fairly underrated in some of these big games. And you go back and watch how good the crowd was in Denver last year in some of these big playoff games. And one of my favorite bets in that game was Anthony Edwards' first quarter. And man, I wish I had bet more on that. He came out absolutely on fire, really trying to push and press. I think the Thunder, like every NBA series is like a good boxing match. There's going to be big hits. I think the Thunder come back from sort of that big punch to the face, if you will. They'll adjust on defense here, but offensively specifically, I think we're going to see a lot better effort from them. Their team total sits at 110.5, comfortably over that number in the first 2 games. And if you look at yesterday's game, even we're pretty solid offensively in the second, third, and fourth quarters. It was just really that first 12 minutes that got them there. So looking to maybe back the Thunder, don't mind the spread, but I think the best angle is just play their team total over 110.5.
Yeah, so after 2 games each series, Noops, we got about 30 seconds here. It was OKC and Indiana that we're going to see in the finals. Do you think that is the finals we end up seeing this year?
I do. I'd be very surprised if we see either of these teams get turned upside down. Maybe the Minnesota Timberwolves and Anthony Edwards can continue to be fantastic, but I think we're going to look forward to a very interesting, fun NBA finals of 2 teams that play fast with a lot of depth.
He's Noops Christenson. Find his work over on FTN_Noops on the Twitter machine. Noops, appreciate it, buddy, and good luck.
Always a pleasure, gentlemen. Best of luck until we talk again.
We got a peer-to-peer sports exchange named Profit X out there. You're betting against other guys like me and Mike. You're not betting against the sports books. Go in, download Profit X today, and use promo code VSIN, VSIN. And when you do, you earn up to $200 in profit cash over your first month. Again, Profit X, download promo code VSIN, up to $200 in profit cash over your first month. Update you here on what's going on in Detroit and take a look at all of these first pitches. They're coming rapidly here on Ready, Set, Bet.
Welcome back to Ready, Set, Bet with Matt Brown and Mike Somich on VSIN, the sports betting network.
Matt, Mike here on Ready, Set, Bet. Mike Scooble through 7, gets his 8th and 9th strikeout of the day, punctuates that inning with a 102-mile-an-hour fastball on the black. So, good on him out there. And just some news here from a hockey standpoint. Emily Kaplan Hintz made the trip to Edmonton and arrived at the arena for Game 3 without wearing a walking boot. So that does not say he is definitely going to play or how much he is going to play or anything like that, Mike, but it is some news that he made the trip and showed up at the arena without a walking boot on.
Yeah, we heard Pete DeBoer talk about him being a game-time decision. He definitely matters for this Dallas Stars team, one of their better offensive weapons. So we'll see if he's able to go. The walking boot, obviously a positive sign, but he's got to be able to get out there. He's got to be able to test that foot, test that ankle, and see if he's going to be able to go today in a big Game 3 against Edmonton.
Brewers and the Pirates, this is coming to you here in about 5 minutes. Logan Henderson and Bailey Falter. You are going to go with the road team.
Yeah, give me the Brewers here. I'm going to go with the first 5. We'll lay the half run, get the plus 100 price. I want to bet against this Pirates offense, which has been absolutely atrocious. The least runs scored in Major League Baseball. And when Falter's not been bad on the mound, he hasn't been very good either. It just feels like it's a big time advantage on both the hill and with the lineups here. So I'll try and take a little bit of the Brewers here on the road, plus 100. First 5 minus the half run, Matt.
Another 10:35 Pacific first pitch here, Giants and Nationals. This is Robbie Ray and Mike Soroka.
Yeah, I'm going with the dog here. Let's go against 6-0 Robbie Ray, whose underlying numbers not quite as good as what his current ERA is. And if you look over at Soroka, he's got a 5+ ERA, but it is wildly inflated when you look at his WOBA, expected WOBA, his expected ERA, his expected batting average against, all of those significantly lower than what he is currently posting. You're getting a nice price here on the Nationals. I was able to get plus 125 in the first 5 money line there. Make sure you shop around because there are some pretty good prices available out there. We're seeing minus 108 at DraftKings. Surprised it's that low because, like I said, before the show, we're sitting at minus 125 or plus 125 on the Nationals for the first 5 here. So I'll take a little bit of a shot here with the dog.
Yeah, I don't hate it. I mean, Ray hasn't been bad. It's still sub 4 expected and stuff on him. But the thing that really jumps out to me is he has always been a homer prone pitcher, and his home run to fly ball ratio is like literally half of what it is for his career average this year. And I looked into the pitch metrics, and it's not like he really changed anything all that much. So again, he's just running on the right side of variance when it comes to that. And as we know, if the ball leaves the park, that's at least 1 run guaranteed against you. And if there's anybody on base, you can start to tally it up after that. So yeah, that's kind of my problem here with Ray, is just not necessarily that he's bad. He's a good pitcher, but he gives up more runs than he's been giving up this year because the ball just hasn't been leaving the yard.
Yeah, I mean, he's 6-0 with a 2.67 ERA. And again, he's not a bad pitcher, like you said, but he is someone who usually you expect with that 3.5, 3.75 level of an ERA. If you look at his expected ERA this year, it's more in line with that middle 3s than it is the 2 and change number that we're currently seeing. And again, Soroka just been unlucky. I mean, he's sitting there with 1 and 2 with a 5.95 ERA. His expected ERA, almost 3 runs less than what is currently posted. So hoping for a little regression to the mean for both of these players, one positive, one negative. And like you said, hopefully Ray gives up a couple bombs here in the first 5 and get a nice little plus money price home.
Yeah, I mean, consecutive seasons of 15.5, 15.6, 17.4, 20, 18.6, 15.9, 15.5, and 17.6 home run to fly ball ratio. He's sitting at 7.9% this year. So it's
a big enough sample size. Yeah. I think we're going to get back into those double-digit numbers pretty soon.
So again, it's like guys just running on the right side of variance so far. With that, we got Toronto and the Rays. This one, you got a few more minutes. This one's going to be 10:40 Pacific. This is Chris Bassett and Ryan Pepio. It is about a coin flip on the money line, 112 and 108, and a flat 9 is the total.
Man, I wanted to take the over in this game. It was 8.5 this morning. We did see it tick up to 9. Just phenomenal hitting weather in Tampa today. If you look at what we're expecting, it's supposed to be in the low 90s, the wind blowing out slightly. Again, this is a minor league park, so the wind does affect the ball a little bit more than major league stadiums because you don't have as much blocking it at lower elevations. And so I wanted to play the over here, but these two pitchers face each other. It was a 3-1 game. There weren't a ton of hits in that spot. They both handled this lineup pretty well. Pipio specifically very good against the Blue Jays. And so I just couldn't quite get to the over, even though we do have the very good hitting weather. Now, if you do want to look at a prop, Brendan Lowe, 3 homers off Bassett in his career. So that would be the one I would look at, maybe low total bases, low RBI, low home run, something like that here for the Rays, who, again, very good hitting conditions, really wanted to find ways to play this game. I just couldn't see anything that jumped out at me that was priced incorrectly here.
Yeah, the other game that's first pitch coming to you here momentarily, Cubs and the Reds. This is Ben Brown versus Nick Lodolo. This is Cubs minus 135 on the road. The Reds are plus 114. 8.5 is the total. Mike, I was really, really tempted to play the over in this one. Lodolo, as we know, I mean, sure, on any given day can go out and see that pedigree of one of the guys that was really, really hyped in the minors, but we don't see it on a consistent basis with him at all. Ben Brown, another super hyped prospect. He's come up. He has been up and down as well. Now, the expecteds are much better than the surface stats for Ben Brown, but still a dude that gives up home runs at a pretty good rate. 8.5 in the Reds ballpark. Two guys. I mean, you get good Lodolo, it's probably going to be a sweat for this one. If you get bad Lodolo, this thing could cash by the fourth inning.
Yeah, I almost was tempted to go first 5 over because if you get bad Lodolo, it's just over. Like, there's no chance that you're staying under the 4.5, and maybe there's some way that you see a bullpen game where they're able to hold these offenses down later in the game. I also was kind of tempted to play the Reds too, Matt, because I do still believe in Nick Lodolo a little more than I do Ben Brown, considering what his major league numbers have been so far. You're getting plus 117 on the Reds at home. It's tough, though. Like, it really is, because if Lodolo is bad, the Cubs are going to just beat him up with this lineup. Yeah. And so, to me, it was closer to the over than the Reds, but I thought both were viable plays here. Maybe if I was doing like a money line parlay or a 5 or 6 teamer, just have a sweat in some of these early games where I don't have a sweat, I would throw the over in here, but I couldn't quite get it in the account as a solo bet.
Yeah, and if you just want to have some sort of fun, parlay as well, just to have a sweat today, in that game in particular, when you do have bad Lodolo, he's given up 2 or 3 home runs in a game. Like, so like that's the other thing. So if you wanted to throw a Suzuki or a Pete Crow Armstrong or, some kind of Dansby Swanson home run into some sort of little fun parlay or something, I think that could be an alternate way that you could get at this and bet a little to win a lot.
Yeah, I mean, look, Tucker, obviously another guy that you wouldn't be shocked if he went yard here in this game. So it is one where if you want to play props, you can lean on the Cubs lineup. If you're playing daily fantasy sports, I don't hate using Cubs players as well, because in those DFS lineups, if you get some of those second-tier guys and Lodolo isn't good, you're going to get some big-time points from them.
Yeah, you could almost like full game stack that and, pull Cubs, pull Reds, and just hope this thing they score 14 runs between the two. Yeah, they score 14 runs between the two of them there. I asked you yesterday, can we, listen, I know it's not always going to work out that your favorite bets of the day over on the track are going to be during the hours in which we are on air. And you said, you know what, I'll go in, I'll do some research. I'll find one that I at least somewhat like. I'm not going to say it's my best plays of the day. You went in, you did that. We do get a live sweat here today on the program.
Yeah, now this one is about, I'll check the board right now. We're about 17 minutes to post, so we got a little time here, but we do have a guest in the next segment, so I wanted to make sure we mention it during this segment here. I like the number 4 horse, Sarah's Rose, 9-2 on the morning line here at Gulfstream Park, race number 3, 17 minutes to post, up to 7-1 right now on the live betting board. Sarah's Rose won her last start over the synthetic, going 5.5 furlongs here at Gulfstream Park, jumping up from the maiden claiming level into the claiming level. So step up in class. But if you're stepping up in class, this is what I want to do it with. A turf sprinter or a synthetic sprinter, where if you're fast, right? And that's really the big thing with these races. Ran her last win in 57 seconds flat. 57 seconds flat beats this field. I think she might be the fastest early, which gets her in the lead. If not, she's came from just off the pace last time out. Like the price here, I think the favorite is going to be a little over bet. Right now, we're seeing the 3 horse at 4-5, so definitely being over bet there. So let's go with the number 4 horse, Sarah's Rose, in the third race. And Matt, we've got Bet Stormy in the 4th race as well as a horse. So that one, we might have to talk about that race as well coming up first segment at the next hour, because Bet Stormy, I mean, it's one of the better names out there. I don't like her today, but still a very good name.
All right. Okay, well, we can just, if you don't like the horse, then, I mean, like, we're not forcing anything. By the way, Scooble, they put him back out there. Mike, he's now through 8, 2 hits, no walks, 11 Ks. For this Tigers team up against this Cleveland Guardian squad. He's only at 85 pitches. They're going to give him a complete game shutout here. Like, they're going to let him come back out.
I mean, 85 pitches through 8 with 11 Ks.
Yeah.
It's a lot of missed bats, man.
That is a lot of missed bats. There's no doubt about that. I can't wait to see what his swinging strikes are in this one as well whenever we take a look at it. Guys, $199 is going to get you 14 months of VSiN Pro. Yeah, it's normally 12 months for $199. We're going to give you 2 extra months, so 14 for $199. And with that, you get the daily best bets emailed to you from all of the hosts and guests here on the network. You can watch us on the VSiN Watch app. You can go to that splits page, you can go to that picks page, and of course, all of the betting guides, including the big NFL betting guide, which will be coming to you here in a couple of months. Get all that done over at VSiN.com/subscribe, $199 for 14 months.
If you work in quality control at a candy factory, you know strict safety regulations come with the job. It's why you partner with Grainger. Grainger helps you find the high-quality and compliant products your business needs to inspect, detect, and help correct issues. And the sweetest part is, everyone gets a product that's as safe to eat as it is delicious. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Welcome back to Ready, Set, Bet with Matt Brown and Mike Somich on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Ready, Set, Bet here on VSiN. Matt Brown, Mike Somich. I was taking it all the way to the rejoin here, Mike, because I was trying to see what we were going to get out of Scooble here, as he is going for the complete game shutout, and he's still throwing 100 in the ninth inning. Whew. Yeah.
Must be nice. Must be nice.
I just saw the deal of his average fastball over the course of his career, and it is basically ticked up a mile an hour every single year. So good on him. Good on him with all of that. And again, we're going to
something in the water in Detroit, man.
Yeah, something going on there. He's got him 0-2 for the complete game shutout. So yeah, probably going to get that one. Probably going to get that one done. Now joining us here on the Progressive Guest Line, Peter Appel. He's co-founder at Just Baseball, Not Gambling Advice podcast as well, like Peter Appel 23 over on the Twitter machine. Peter, how you doing, man?
Doing great. Thanks for having me, guys. Yeah, Tarek Skubal hit 102 to end the seventh inning. He is pitching angry. It's awesome.
It is. Looks like I see the future, and it's
Strikeout.
done. Yes, I see the future. Yep. There it is. 9 innings, 2 hits, no walks, 13 Ks, and gets it done in 94 pitches. You look at this, you look at this line today. They're huge favorites, Peter. And I mean, it's tough to bet Scooble. So it's like, it's one of these deals where betting the Tigers when he's on the hill is going to be interesting. We're going to have to come up with creative ways to do it.
Especially at home. Yeah. He is diabolical at Comerica Park, and the books know it. So they make him -200, -250 favorites. And we're sit looking at our sports book thinking, I mean, is this the 1927 Yankees? I mean, what is this price? But, they covered the run line and then some, and Scooble proved, yeah, I maybe should have been -300 at that point.
Just wild, too. It's 26 swinging strikes in the game, additional 13 called strikes. I mean, that's insane. So just had obviously had just his top tier stuff all day and was just phenomenal there. Now, I know you've got a couple bets from games that are already in play here, so I want to get to the first one here. We talked about this Ray Soroka matchup in the previous segment with the Giants taking on the Nationals, and you agree kind of with our thoughts that Soroka been getting a little bit unlucky so far this year. You like a prop of his?
Yeah, I took his over 5.5 strikeouts at +125, and I have a crazy stat to tell you guys. Unfortunately, though, it's not looking good early, or at least I just checked, and it was the first inning, and he did not strike out the first 3 guys, but luckily got 3 straight outs. But among pitchers, starting pitchers who have thrown at least 10 innings. Now, it's a small sample, but there are a lot of pitchers to work with. A stat that compiled 176 current pitchers. He is 13th among all of them in strikeout minus walk ratio, with a strikeout rate at 27.4%, a walk rate at 4.8. That is better than pitchers like Logan Webb, Garrett Crochet, Jacob deGrom, Yoshinobu Yamamoto. So I think his 5.95 ERA doesn't really tell us the full story here, especially when his expected ERA is about 3.14. So against a Giants team that has been striking out at the 8th highest rate among all 30 teams over the last 30 days against right-handed pitchers, I thought it was worth the stab at +125. But luckily, my favorite pick of the day actually starts at 2:10 p.m. Eastern, so we can talk a little bit about that one. But if you're looking for a live wager, I don't mind jumping on Soroka, whatever his K line is, or just looking at the Nationals money line. The only reason I didn't play the Nationals is I don't exactly love how they match up today against Robbie Ray, and the Giants do have one of the best bullpens in baseball. But I think a good way to attack this game is to back Mike Soroka.
Yeah, let's talk about that 2:10 Eastern game. Rangers on the road at the White Sox. Patrick Corbin going for the Rangers. Davis Martin going for the White Sox. This is currently Rangers about minus 120-ish, something like that. Road favorites. You can catch a little bit over even money on the White Sox. A flat 8 is our total here. The White Sox get it done yesterday against this Rangers team. Can they do it again?
I believe they can. And I think the wrong team is favored in this matchup. And just so everybody's aware, I bet the White Sox at plus 123 earlier this morning. So there's been a steep drop in line movement. And I think a big reason why is people have been watching this series. Mm-hmm. We see that the Rangers are on an incredibly bad downward trend. They have lost 6 in a row. They're 9-13 in the month of May. And people look at the White Sox and remember the historically bad 2024 season. But in this matchup, you look at the difference between Patrick Corbin and Davis Martin, and I see a strength for Davis Martin where not so for Patrick Corbin. And the reason is the White Sox, as they brought up a lot of these young right-handed bats, notably Edgar Caro, Chase Mydroth, this White Sox team profiles pretty well against left-handed pitching. They rank about 16th in OPS, 19th in WRC plus, and 13th in batting average over the month of May. And the Rangers rank bottom 5 in all of those metrics that I just mentioned against right-handed pitching. You also look at skill interactive ERA, which is my favorite ERA predictor long-term to look at a pitcher's true talent level. And Davis Martin has the edge there. We look at the bullpens. One team has a bullpen ERA over 5 in May. That would be the Texas Rangers, not the Chicago White Sox. So I think that the White Sox have the edge on all sides of the ball in this one. And considering they are 12-14 at home compared to the Rangers, who are 8-18, I took the White Sox. I think they should be the favorites here, but the sportsbooks are not going to make them the favorites because everybody knows it's the lowly White Sox. When in reality, the White Sox expected win-loss record is actually 1 game better than the A's. But the A's are a team that everybody wants to be so good. So if I came on here and told you I'm on the A's money line against the Rangers, you'd probably think to yourself, ooh, I like this. But it's the White Sox. So you don't. When in reality, the White Sox have actually been a team trending up, while the A's, unfortunately, have been a team trending down. But this has nothing to do with the A's. It has a lot to do with why I think the Rangers are the most overrated team in baseball. We cashed on White Sox money line yesterday, and I'm right back to it again.
Now, one of the more interesting teams out of the gate was the Atlanta Braves. We saw Ronald Acuna Jr. come back 2 games ago. All he has done is homer twice since then. But you look at this Braves team, and they're still sitting there at 25-26, 8.5 games back of the Phillies, 5.5 games back of the Mets. They've got a big game today, a little later in the day, taking on one of their rivals. But what do you make of this Braves team long-term, currently plus 600 to win the division with Acuna back in the lineup? Is this a team that can start to make a run?
Absolutely. I mean, I said at the beginning of the season, and I have been proven wrong thus far, that the Braves are the second best team in baseball, only trailing the Dodgers, right? You look at that roster, and we also have to remember that this team had a win total projection of 101.5 not so long ago, and it's a lot of the same players. So Acuna is coming back, and he has been a lightning rod for this offense. He is averaging, I know it's only in 9 plate appearances, but this stat is absurd, averaging 105 miles an hour off the bat. He has already hit a ball 115.5 miles an hour. That is harder than anything that he hit last year. And if we remember with Acuna, when he came back from his first ACL tear, didn't look like the same guy, and it felt like he was rushed a little bit back onto the field. This time around, the Braves took it a lot more slowly so he could really hit the ground running out of the gate, and he has certainly done so. But it's not just Acuna. Michael Harris is a guy who I'm IDing who has to be better. Ozzie Albies, one of the better second basemen in baseball, has not gotten off to a good start. This Braves offense has survived with Marcell Ozuna, Matt Olson, and Austin Riley. But we have to remember the Braves are so good because they can go 7 or 8 deep, especially now that they've pulled up their young phenom prospect, in my eyes, Drake Baldwin, who just rakes. Sean Murphy is clearly one of the better catchers in Major League Baseball. You know, they have Schwellenbach on the mound today. You're getting Strider back. They have Sale. And when you look at the bullpen too, a lot of talented arms in there as well. So yes, I absolutely think that the Braves are going to be on a run today. In this game though, personally, I do lean towards the over. I like the Braves. They're just a little bit too expensive in my eyes, but the Padres actually match up pretty well against Spencer Schwellenbach, even though he has been fantastic at home. But I think a pretty telling line in that game is Spencer Schwellenbach's strikeout line, which is sitting anywhere between 3.5 to 4.5 for a guy who can rack up strikeouts. Now, the Padres don't strike out that much, but I think his lines are a little bit telling today, and Cease is just a little bit too inconsistent. And with the Braves offense on the rise, I know it's two good bullpens as well. I'm leaning over 8. My model makes it about 8.6, so I'm seeing a little bit of value on that over.
Still available at 6-1 out there to win the NL East. Phillies -125, Mets +150, Braves at 6-1. He is Peter Appel, co-founder of Just Baseball, Not Gambling Advice podcast, as well at Peter Appel 23 over on the Twitter machine. Appreciate the time today and good luck.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, guys.
So, Mike, he ended the game, he being Tarek Skubal, on 103-mile-an-hour fastball. That was the final pitch of the game, was 103. So the 94th,
a little juiced up there to close it out.
The 94th pitch of the day came in at 103 miles an hour. So that guy's good. That guy's pretty good. Yeah, that guy's pretty good. I'm glad to have I'm glad to have a Tigers ticket. You know,
the Tigers were clearly the play there. One of the better teams in baseball, specifically the pitching.
We'll look at the rest of the slate when we come back here on Ready, Set, Bet.